Hello? Hey, can you guys hear me? Let me just turn that down a bit. The mic was going into the yellow area for a bit. So yeah, okay. Hi guys. Uh, welcome to the stream. Good morning or good evening where you are. Thanks for tuning in. And to live is pain. Come on, L. Uh, just in case there's there's no everyone here is from the Discord. Everyone here is from is from Secret Org. But I'm just gonna do a quick sort of self introduction just because this video is gonna just remain on the internet forever probably. Uh, my name is Kamishiro Taishi, and you guys can call me Taishi. And I am a Japanese to English translator. What will we be doing today is, as the title of the video says, we'll be doing a live translation of 世界の闇と戦う秘密結社がないから作った半切れ or in English as it's called Secret Org. This is the sort of book cover that I'm sure everybody is very familiar with by now. And before we start that, let me just sort of quickly go into why we're doing this and and sort of like what happened with this, right? So, as I said, I'm a translator and I'm sort of professional. I'm not sure that I would call myself professional, right? But I get money for what I do and it gets published, and so I guess I am professional. I guess it's weird feeling. So when I actually went pro, like they asked, so I've done work with pretty much only JNCJ novels so far. And when I joined, they asked me like, "Is there any series that you want us to procure the rights for?" Right? And I was like, "Huh." So at that time, I was a translator, so I was doing it illegally, which I don't do anymore, clearly. But at that time, I had just started on this series. I had just picked it up. I found it on Shosetsu Ninaro, and I just picked this series up and I was like, dude, this is a great series. So I asked them, hey, can you get the license for this? And they were like, sure. So they got the license, and then I did volumes one and two with them, and then we learned that it got cut off in Japanese, like the original got cut off. Like there's nothing after volume two, even though the author continues to write it on Shosetsu Kaninaro, as you can see here. He has so the what was published was one. That means one, and that's two. So that's volumes up to volume two, and then that's the sort of side story. But volume three and onwards, it was not published, even though the author continues to write it even to this very day. So I was like, dude, that's really sad. This is a great work, and I loved it. So sort of recently, like a few months ago, it just occurred to me like, hey, if it's not licensed, does that mean I can translate it with permission? And so I went and asked the author. I emailed the author, and the author he replied really quickly. And he was like, hey, sure, why not? Go ahead. And so I got permission to translate it. And then I asked him, hey, so if I'm translating it, hey, would you mind if I live stream it? And he was like, sure, okay. I pitched it sort of as a learning thing, right? Like for people who want to learn Japanese or for Japanese people who want to learn English. So I pitched it as that, and he was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. So just showing you guys for the future, there's volume three, there's volume four, volume five, volume six, volume seven, seven more seven. Seven is really long, and there are like three arcs in seven because it's the penultimate volume. And then volume eight. Oh my gosh, there's a new oh my gosh, there's a new release. I didn't realize. But there's a volume eight. Volume eight is gonna be the final one, and I cannot wait. I so cannot wait. But I digress. So that's why we are actually doing this um, with permission of the author. And what I'm hoping with this is perhaps, for more people to enjoy the series. And I mean, if you enjoy this series, please buy it. But even if you don't buy it, it's fine. I hope that you would enjoy what we do here, and if you learn Japanese from this, man, like all power to you, man. Like I'm all for like people who want to learn Japanese. Try to answer any questions that you have. Feel free to join our Discord if you have any questions, especially if you're a translator. I mean, I, I don't know everything. I know like a bit of stuff, right? I don't know everything. I wouldn't ever dare to say that I know everything. But where I can help, I can help. And if you want to reach me, feel free to join our Discord. The link should be in the description below. Yes, the officials are in Play Store. I'm not sure about Play Store. What is Play Store? But just a quick, I'll just show you guys quickly. This is my website, right? And this is the page that I made for the series. So these are all English, all the ones that JNC is doing. Um, I think there's been some trouble with Amazon lately. I don't know if you guys have heard, but like Amazon's been taking down light novels like crazy, and they haven't explained shit to anybody. So nobody knows what the hell is going on with Amazon. So probably you want to stay clear of that. Um, but like that's the global Amazon, actually the American Amazon. The Japanese Amazon is totally fine. So this is the Japanese one. So feel free to grab those if you want to support the author. But like this is the English one, and this is the English for volume 2. And the way JNC works is like a portion of it, like an eighth of it, is always free to read. So you can sign up for free and read like an eighth of it, the first 1/8. Sorry about that. And see if you like it. And this is where we're doing volume 3 and onwards. Oh, I found many LN licensed by JNC in Play Store. I mean, I don't know, man. I can show you guys quickly like what it looks like in JNC, right? But I just took whatever links they had. So if there's more, there might be more that I wouldn't know. Like here, the way to buy is buy the ebook. I'm already plugging the buying, which I shouldn't be doing, but because someone asked, right? I just took the links from here and just copied. I just copy link address. I just copied it over. So there might be more. I don't know. I wouldn't know. But so yeah, that's what we're doing here today, and that has been really, that has been, it has been 8 minutes of me just talking normal. One more, just sort of quick disclaimer, I guess. Um, I'm also doing this sort of as my own practice because, as they say, practice makes perfect, and what I need practice in is speaking Japanese because I don't have a lot of experience speaking Japanese. So I hope you guys will forgive me because I've taken the liberty of trying to what is the word? I've read this whole thing out loud, and so ahead of time because I cannot do it on the spot because I will I will stumble over my words like crazy, and that would be a huge waste of time. But I have read all of it out loud, so we will be um, using that, and hopefully, I don't know, I sort of, it's a bit cringy. It's a bit cringy, but you know, bear with it. Anyways, let's get started. So, okay, so first of all, it's always the title, right? I mean, there's really nothing to say. It's the title, chapter 7. So, 平成報復合戦ボンボコ. So the thing is, So Heisei is obviously Heisei, like the period. There was Showa, there's Heisei, and now it's Reiwa. So Heisei, really, there's nothing to say about that. Hofuku Gassen, normally Hofuku is just revenge, right? So just so the thing is, Bomboko means nothing. Bomboko by itself has no meaning. Normally, I would like Google it to check if there really is anything. But in this case, like you see, like there's some weird dance in Toyama for fishermen and shit. But the thing is, when I don't know what the title means, which sometimes happens, I normally just leave it as is because in the hopes that later on in the chapter it might become clear what it actually means. So I would just leave it as is, and then I would highlight it so that I remember to come back to it, right? And then we would just get started with the actual. Okay, indent is important. Indent is important. All right, let's get started. So that was the first sentence, right? So Tokyo ni wa chijou ni mo hoshisora ga aru. So Tokyo has hoshizora means like a sky full of stars. Normally, Tokyo has stars. Something like that. This is got. I'm trying to like think of English and try to speak at the same time, so it's not gonna be perfect. And that's what you know. After I translate a chapter, of course, I have to go over it first, right? I go over it, check that I didn't miss any lines, and then after that, that's where the editor comes in. So in our case, it's Kuma. Thank you, Kuma. Shout out to Kuma with all the amazing editing always. But but that's what it is. 夜中にもネオンサインは眩くそう。行き交う自動車のライトが瞬く間に通り過ぎてまたやってくる。Mm. So so the overall gist here is that it is trying to say that Tokyo is bright, right? Like Tokyo has a lot of light. I think it would make more sense if we did the next line as well. So this line sort of like wraps up what the previous all of this was trying to say, right? So it's trying to say that there's a lot of light. So Tokyo has stars. Tokyo has stars in its sky. Normally the mo here would justify the also just now, but we're gonna take it out because in English it doesn't make a lot of sense to have the also in the first sentence. So Tokyo has stars in its sky. Neon signs light up the night. And sort of ikikao jirosha, so that's like passing and cars passing by. No raito, so the light of the passing cars. Matatakumani, so that's in like in a flash. Torisugite mata yatte kuru. And cars pass, and the light of passing cars flash by. 過ぎてまたやってくる。So it passes and then it comes again. So obviously it's not the same car that's passing you and then coming again because that just doesn't make sense. Like the car is just gonna go where it's gonna go and it doesn't give a shit about you. So it's not like the car is coming back, right? So this means like the lights are coming again and again, which means it's many different cars. So the light of passing cars flash by again and again. That's sort of how I do that. 光が常に溢れる眠らない街よ、東京。The city. So this is a problem here because machi. Let me just try to do it so that it's more obvious. The city that never sleeps and is always enveloped in light. Tokyo. So I mean, like the sentence works. The city that never sleeps and is always enveloped in light. Tokyo. I mean, it works, but it's sort of clunky, if you know what I mean. Like it's annoying when they have like two describers, never sleeps, always enveloped in light, for a single noun. It's really annoying when it happens. In Japanese, this is absolutely normal. They can do this. There's no problem. But in English, it's really weird. And so normally in post, this is where I would like go back and I would like mull over the sentence and just go like, is there any way that I can sort of rearrange the sentence so that I don't end up with the and. Perhaps by the the never sleeping city that is always enveloped in light. Something like that. You know, it's not perfect, but again, that's where post comes in. So we'll just leave it as that. そんな東京にも暗がりがある。However, even this Tokyo has darkness would be a more direct sort of translation. But obviously, that's really weird English. However, darkness can be found even in such a Tokyo. Would sort of be better English. It's hard to explain why it's better. Um, clearly, they don't. Clearly, the machine doesn't like this sentence, but screw that. Screw the machine. Screw them. Next. So, for example, so this first sentence is pretty obvious, right? For example, on rooftops. The rooftops of Tokyo are surprisingly dark. 手元が見えないほどではないが、not to the point where you wouldn't be able to see your hands. 地上よりはよほど暗い。But definitely much more so. Much more so than ground level. I mean, this one is rather straightforward, I feel like. Not a lot of switching around and things like that. So next line. はい、stop. 冷たいビール風。So this is a thing that I've seen mentioned before, but I don't think there's an English word for it. Birukaze. This is a sort of weird thing. I could not find an English word for it. Eddies of wind around high buildings. I mean, I haven't really experienced this myself, but apparently it's a thing. Okay, that's a lot of scribbling. But basically, when wind hits buildings, and the buildings are too close together, it would get like it would become really fast because the space where it can go, it's all squeezed together, so it becomes really fast. So around buildings, there's sort of like gusts of wind, like eddies of wind. I couldn't really find a word for this in English, so what I'm just gonna go with is screw this. And this is a thing that I would not do in an official translation, but as a translation, I have the power of footnotes. Ha! So this is something that I really liked about when I was doing translation, and which I really like now. Footnotes. I love footnotes. They're just things that you can't explain like in the text, right? Like little connotations, little sort of references. I love putting footnotes. But in this case, that's that. So 冷たいビル風が吹き抜けるビルの屋上から so that so up to here is a phrase, right? Here to here is a phrase. Kara is from a rooftop where the from a rooftop where cold inter building wind blew 風が吹き抜ける so the wind is like it's blowing pretty hard sort of 吹き抜ける it's sort of I hate it when it adds the little slash 吹き抜ける blow through, blow across. So it's blowing like relatively hard, right? Something like that. 親分が助走をつけて飛ぶ So 助走をつける is to like he has like a run, right? So like before you do like a long jump, you sort of run a little bit first, and then you jump. So that's what that is. Uh, what do you call that, man? I cannot remember for the life of me. And stop that. Run up. Is it called a run up? Run up meaning. Ah, so it is a run up. My first time hearing that word. It's not a word that I use often. Oh, yeah. My bad. Ran a run up before jumping? I don't know about this one, but I would just leave that up to post. 鍛え上げられた巨体は軽々と宙を舞い His well-built body flew through the air lightly. 軽々 means lightly, right? So here, lightly, easily. 約10メートル離れたビルの屋上に重々しく着地する Flew through the air lightly before landing heavily on a rooftop roughly 10 meters away. Like here there's a comma, but in English it doesn't. We can just add the before, and so we don't need the comma. Again, it's one of those things which are just different between languages. 俺もそれに続いて取り残された飛べない豚代表。飛べない豚 means like a pig that can't fly. This is one of those moments that this is one of those moments that I really like, where a saying in Japanese matches a saying in English. Like we have tobenai, so like cannot fly, right? Buta, pig. So we have this. I mean, it means something different. It means something different. I know, when pigs can fly, it means something different. But it's just one of those like little like happy moments that I have when I see a phrase that sort of means something in English as well. I got into a little bit of trouble with it just the other day. 'Cause this is completely unrelated. It's about the other series called Black Summoner, which I'm doing for JNC right now. Um, there was a scene where a character gets some fun in bed. So okay, he has sex. Whatever. I can say that word. I'm a grown man. I'm a grown ass man. I can say the word sex. So the main character has sex, and then like the forums were talking about it, right? Like about the whole like, oh, like love is not always represented by sex, and then there are other people who are like, oh, I'm glad that there's a series where the character actually gets the hint and 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 just just goes for it, right? Yeah, so that sort of like discussion that you see pretty often. Uh, and within one of the comments, somebody mentioned the word snoo snoo. It's This is a word that I've maybe heard like once before, and I totally forgot. But then I read the word, and I was like, oh my god, I know what that means. And this snoo snoo, right? And I got really excited because in Japanese you have the word which also means having sex. And I was really excited because I was like, oh my god, there's a match for this in English. And I was just I commented I was like, oh my gosh, there's a match. It means the same thing. It means the same thing even. Like how rare is it that they mean the same thing, and it has the same format where it's like just the same syllable repeated, right? Like what a coincidence. It's an amazing coincidence. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then people um really got to me about how like, oh, you really shouldn't use this word unless if like you mean it in like unless if the work is a really like a nerd directed work piece of work, or they were like, I hope you are not going to use that in any official capacity. I was just like, dude, I just like that there's a word that matches. But anyways, I got into a bit of trouble with that. I probably should watch what I say. But okay, we digressed a lot. We are making like so little progress. It's crazy. All right, let's get back to it. 俺もそれに続いて飛び。So I followed I followed suit. So here it means I also sort of like followed, right? Like I continued. Uh, jump. So but in English, we don't need to say I followed him in jumping, right? That's sort of like we mentioned jumping already. Like all this was all about jumping, so we don't need to say I followed. I jumped. Well, you could say I jumped after him. Well, actually, you could. You could. I jumped after him. But I personally don't really like it because it seems a bit repetitive. So I'll just be like, I followed suit. Then 取り残された飛べない豚代表であるところの宮も念力で幅移動させた。Uh, so this is so this is talk about Miyama. which is fat. He's fat. We've established that in the previous chapters, with the double chin and all that. Um, so here Sago is sort of making a joke at his expense, calling him the pig that cannot fly, basically the representative pig that cannot fly. So tori nokosareta means left behind. So the representative pig that cannot fly, who was left behind. のミヤマを念力で幅移動させた。So Sago is using telekinesis to hover Miyama over. Then use telekinesis to hover Miyama, the representative. I wouldn't say representative, the figurative. In English, figurative sort of works better. Pig that cannot fly. Over, I guess. I mean, we are sort of cutting out this part, but again, it's one of those things where in English it doesn't need to be spelled out, I suppose. I mean, if I could fit it in, I would fit it in. In post, I might take a second look at it and try to like slot it in somewhere, but who knows? Nyan means that. Isn't that like a cat's meow too? Yes, nyan is normally a cat's meow. It is. So the usage of nyan nyan is a slang. It is a slang. Himu says, just as they say, the fat man sings in this novel. He doesn't sing, but he plays the guitar. And he plays the guitar very well, assuming. Probably. We are finally done up to here. Next line. Next line. So, 今日も京都で. This is a phrase in blah, it's not giving it to me. It basically means like as you okay, there we go. We get it. As usual or like today too, like to make it sound a bit cooler, Today too. Tsukuyomi was dashing through the Tokyo night. Was dashing through Tokyo at night. Tanioka gumi o bokko bokko ni suru. Bokko bokko means like to like really like beat someone up, right? So here the you see that the search function sort of messes up because of this small like tsu in between. Like normally it doesn't have to tsu. You wanna see? Here. Ah, goddamn, come on. Bokko bokko. Oh, well, okay, it got it. But like yeah, so normally sometimes they people add the sort of like small tsu in the in between a word to sort of for emphasis, right? But here, so this is the normal one, boko boko, whereas the author is adding a small tsu in between to make it like boko boko. So I don't know if you can hear the emphasis. Like another sort of like a common example of this is like jettai, right? Like jettai means like absolutely, right? And so there are people, especially in written writing, right, where you can go like jettai. So that's how that's read, right? So like you really, really, really drag it out for just all the emphasis that you want, right? Like jettai, like I really, really don't want to meet the guy, jettai aitakunai, you know. So this is what this small tzu is for. So again, boko boko means to sort of beat someone up, defeat them. Uh, my sort of mental image is beat someone black and blue, right? So once again, today too, Tsukuyomi was dashing through Tokyo at night, looking to beat Tanioka Gumi black and blue. Or looking to give Tanioka Gumi another black eye. Sort of. So the another here is not taken from the context of the sentence itself because there's no way that we could tell. But like this is something from the rest of the from sort of lower down where it's here where it says that they've been doing this for quite a while, right? So and we will see that. So here it makes sense to put in another. So normally, so today this chapter I'll be honest, I finished this chapter already ahead of time, and so I sort of know what's gonna happen. But normally I would not. So normally this would be something that I would add in post. This is the kind of thing that we would have to do in post. All right, next line. So this is very straightforward. So tonight. So okay. I said straightforward, but it means tonight is that place. Would be the straightforward translation, but this is obviously not a good translation. So I would go with something more like that will be our target for the night. That will be our target tonight. Or that's our target tonight. So apparently Oyabun carries his smartphone. Oyabun がスマホで地図と現在地をチェックし、checked our current location on the map in his smartphone. Or on his smartphone map. ビルの端に片足をかけ、鳥を挟んだ反対側のビルを睨んだ。ビルの端に駆け足をかける means like I would imagine like this means like the edge of the building, right? So and he has like 1 foot on the edge of the building. I'm imagining sort of like a small curb or like a short wall that it has. I cannot imagine a building without any wall on the rooftop, so I'm just gonna be like with one leg on the Niranda would be he glared at the building on the other side of the street from us. Tori wa hazanda means the other side of the street, right? Hantaigawa means opposite side, right? So again, it's the same thing. And biru is this building. ここ1ヶ月でつくよみはすでに7回谷岡組事務所へ集客を繰り返し In the past month, Tsukuyomi had already assaulted 7 Tanioka Gumi offices. 60人を病院送りにして sent. So normally you would write out the word because it's inside the sentence, but because this is sort of like a list, right? So like there's 7, 60, 10, and I can never remember, but like there's numbers. There's a lot of numbers, so I'd like to have it in Arabic, just so that the list form is more obvious. Sent 60 people to the hospital. 10人を留置場に送り込み See, this is one of those things where it gets repetitive in English, because this would be sent 10 people to jail and せしめ wango. I don't know why. I like the word wango. Fandango. You know what? Whatever. Just gonna use. And wangoed. So this is the thing is, the whole mon system, like the 10,000, mon means 10,000, right? The whole mon system just does not come natural to me. It's so weird, and so I always have to look it up. What is sen mon? Okay, that's 10 million, so that's 6. So that means 6 times 10 million, so that's 60 million. Mango 60 million yen. So I need the yen sign. So this is something that I do where I have like a note with all these like symbols that I might need, and I just copy and paste from there because I don't remember. There might be shortcuts on the keyboard, but I don't remember them all. I only remember the one for this one, which is Alt 0150, or is it Alt 0151? Ah, there we go. Alt 0151. But the thing is, I also work on the train when I commute to work actually, and I use my like my little laptop, and my little laptop doesn't have like a keypad, so it it's really hard to type it. So I have this like little note where I can just copy paste it. Uh, Himo says, I don't know whether it's my ears or my headphone, but your voice is barely audible when the children around me are screaming. It's all max volume here too. Um, Here, I can make it go up a bit more. That would put my voice entirely in the yellow, but I think that should be fine. Here, let me just, you know what? Let's, here. That should be a bit better. Robin's, your best bet is to permanently remove the children. I mean that is a good idea. That is a good idea. I'm sorry for laughing, but that is a good idea. Okay, back to this. So I have the yen sign here. Boom, like that. And Rango 60 million out of, here there's no subject, right? This is a thing that always happens in Japanese. I think people who have even a little bit of experience of Japanese would know they tend to take the subject out. So here it just says 60 million was wangled out. Like it doesn't say from what, from who. I mean, in this case we already know from who, but for the translation, for the purpose of the translation, it's really annoying to not have a subject. So this is where I would add a little something. So wangled 60 million out of them sounds weird. So out of their coffers is what I would do. It's just a little like tiny switch. So going back to what I said earlier about it being like repetitive, right? There's 2 cents here. I do not like that. I do not like being repetitive because it sounds weird. It reads weird, I should say. So this is where I would go to, goodoldthesaurus.com and try to look for a synonym, or I would try to think one up by myself. And dude, guys, this is like a new thing in thesaurus.com where like if you mouse over this, Sorry. Sorry, I just had a burp. Where if you mouse over this, like this comes up by itself. But that is so annoying. This is like a new thing. It's so annoying because after I type it, like I would make the mouse come down, right? And it just gets in the way. Jama, mitcha jama. Don't know why they did that. I hate it so much. But anyways, moving on. There's not much I can do about it. Let's see. For example, maybe packed 10 people off to jail. Something like that. Rakuratsu. Is this Rakuratsu? This is the app that I use which does this. Rakuratsu. Yep. 略奪は儲かるんだ。Burglary is profitable. I mean, yes, burglary is profitable. I think I chuckled a bit when I read this part, because that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Okay, 60 million yen is what? 60 million. 123 JPY to USD for you guys. See, that is a lot of that is a fuck ton of money to earn in a month. I think Him was here, right? So Indonesian rupee. There you go. That's how much money it is in Indonesian rupiah. That is a lot of money. So that's why I chuckled a bit. So yes, no shit, burglary is profitable. But moving on. So on his face, so Oyabun no kao. So it actually doesn't even say on. It's just Oyabun's face, the usual paper bag. So obviously we have to sort of decipher, discern. I don't know. The word's not coming to me, but we know that it means on because there's no other way to put a paper bag somewhere anywhere near your face. And again, in English we wouldn't use the word face, we'd just use the word head because I mean, unless if he was actually like plastered the paper bag over his face, in which case we would say face, but otherwise we'd just say head, right? So, which I suppose you could make a mask out of a paper bag, which like look like Robin or Zorro, just with a paper bag, but that would be really weird. So I don't think that's what they're talking about. So on Bun's head is his usual paper bag. Kuma says you can take out 2 zeros to get a good estimate from yen to USD. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But like it's sort of my habit to always just Google it because that's what I do in my actual job. In my actual job, I think I've told you guys before this. I think it should be fine. But I work in insurance, so back office. Like I'm not a salesman. I'm not gonna ask you guys, hey, you guys, do you want some insurance? No, I'm not not gonna say it. I work in a back office. But so like when checking amounts, I always sort of just go straight to Google, and then I screenshot the shit, and then I send it over. So that's that. So on his bag is the usual paper bag. 肩に担ぐはいつもの墓石. On his shoulder is his usual. What do you guys think 墓石 means? Tombstone. Tombstone. I laughed so much. I laughed so much when I first read this. And here too, we have, yep, a tombstone. 親分のメインウェポンだ。何度見ても見慣れない。No matter how many times I saw it, it still was a bizarre sight. 初見のヤクザはなおさら目を疑うことだろう。The Yakuza seeing it for the first time it was probably it would probably come off even weirder for Yakuza seeing it for the first time. I assume, I believe, whatever. Not perfect, but, you know, whatever. Let me see. Ramen says burglary is only bad for the recipient. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Burglary is only bad for the recipient. Alright, moving on. Bosekiを武器にしている. So, to use a tombstone as a weapon was indeed date. So date means like to do something like for the looks, right? Sort of this affectation, showing off, putting on. So it's doing something just for show. Yeah, doing something for the show. And suikyo means basically like crazy, like mad, eccentric. Uses tombstone as a weapon was indeed bizarre. I mean, I don't want to use bizarre because I use bizarre here, but was indeed eccentric and flashy. Flashy, I guess I would say. Because obviously he's not doing the meaning of doing something for show is obviously not correct here, but you know, it sort of the meaning sort of gets across in like the flashy way. So it's flashy. So it is indeed eccentric and flashy, but there was a proper reason for it. Okay, I made a mistake. I read Nanakai over there. It should be Nanado. But we can move on from that. Humans make mistakes. 人は奇妙なものを見ると、注意と記憶がそちらに引きつけられる。When humans see something out of the ordinary, they tend to focus their attention and memory towards it. Here in the Japanese is using attention and memory, sort of like focus their attention and memory. It works in Japanese, it doesn't really work in English because you can't focus your memory. It's like your memory is like you only remember that thing, so it's not quite right, but I would just leave that in post. Screw that. 例えば全身にちくわぶら下げて襲いかかられたら犯人の顔なんて覚えていられないと。For example, if you were to be assaulted by someone with ちくわ dangling all over him, you would not be able to remember your assaulter? Not be able to remember his face. So what is a chikuwa? What is a chikuwa? Chikuwa is delicious. I love chikuwa. I think the Asian people probably know what this is. It's something that... Oh man, it looks so good. It's a jelly-like food product made from ingredients such as fish surimi, made with lots of stuff, and it looks like this. And you put it in like, you can like chop it up, chop into little pieces, and then you put it in like noodles or usually noodles. Usually we just put it in noodles. I mean, I can't imagine it going on rice. Maybe. I mean, it would be like, why not? I mean, it's not that it's wrong to put it on rice, but it's just normally not done. But it's yummy. So basically, it's saying like if there was a guy who's assaulting you with this like dangling all over him, right? That would be that would be such a weird. It would be such a weird sight that you wouldn't remember his face. You remember all the chikuwa. ちくわしか覚えられない。それと同じだ。谷岡組に渡す情報は少ないに越したことはない。The less information that had on us, the better. Sebastian says he's already translated this. Didn't he say he hadn't yet? So I've actually finished this chapter already because I did it ahead of time. I mean, I like to do chapters ahead of time. But this is sort of just me doing it again. I guess. I mean, this is basically me doing the same thing twice, but it's more like me explaining what's going on. What I think about when I translate. Because otherwise, if I'm actually doing this live, there would be a lot more just me going like and just like really racking my brain. And like there would be me doing a lot of research, just like wordlessly doing research. Kuma says assailant is the word you're looking for. Yes, yes, assailant. But whatever, we skipped over it. 現に親分は7度、仕受けを繰り返してもなお、母石持っていた。しか、養子の情報が出回っていない。 as planned, or like genni. Genni is sort of like a phrase that you add, sort of like in. It's sort of like a phrase that you add at the start of a sentence that follows a claim. So like there's a claim, and then genni means like as intended, or as expected, or as explained, or because the previous thing was a claim, right? So as claimed. So gen, which, and this is a word that's sort of, it doesn't have an English counterpart, I don't think. So um, in actual fact, it's sort of close, I guess. 現に親分は in spite of the fact. So the now is the in spite of the fact that 親分 had assaulted them 7 times already. So here we're just spelling the word out because it's not a list. So normally we just spell it out. Assaulted them 7 times already. Had gone on 7 raids, whatever. ついたあだ名は墓男そのまんまである。The nickname ついた The nickname that he got was Tombstone Man. Pretty on the nose, if you ask me. Is that what it means? What does on the nose mean? Over literal. Exactly right. Something like that. Okay, we're gonna. I see that I've gone over an hour by now. My voice is a bit scratchy, so we're gonna do this last part, and then we're gonna call it quits for today. Let's get to it. So one reason why I wanted to do this part also is because I love these nicknames. I love these nicknames that they've got. So Chris, ヤクザ界で急激に名を上げている。Chris as Chris Ninja me as telekinetic bastard and Miyama as sorry about that as guitar fatty. Oh, come on. I just love this author's sense of humor. I love it. So this is just this part, but then it becomes really hard to connect with this. Rapidly making our name. Our names were rapidly making a presence. Our names were spreading like wildfire in the Yakuza world. So the issue now is how to combine this and this into a single sentence. Um, 3 of us were also rapidly making a name for ourselves, Yakuza world. Something like that. クリスは黒 T シャツで作った覆面で、俺はバリ島宮城の獅子舞っぽい仮面で、宮山はカラコンで顔を隠しているため、so because Chris was so the because is because they're covering the faces basically. Like the way to sum up this whole part is because they're covering the faces. 顔を隠しているため. Okay, yeah, they were. Because we were covering our faces. Again, see, there's the width here and the width here, so I do not like that. So that would be something that I would change in post. Wearing a mask made from a black t-shirt. Me wearing the lion dance mask that I had bought as a souvenir from Bali. I see. I love this reference, man. This is all the way from from volume 1, like chapter 1 or something. After the prologue, where he was Sago was going around the world training, right? And he went to Bali and he bought like a mask as a souvenir. Actually, let me see what it looks like. Bali lion dance mask. Do they even have lion? Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, so they have it. I thought it was like a China thing, but he's wearing this. This is a terrible thing. He's wearing this while assaulting Yakuza. Yes. Yes, please. Yes. More of that, whatever that is. So I love this reference all the way from Volume 1. Wearing the line bought from Bali, and Miyama wearing his traffic cone. 名前だけ先行して有名になり、身元は全くバレていない。It was only our names that were spreading. And there was no sign of our real identities being exposed. Something like that. And this is pretty much where we're gonna stop this for today. It's been an hour. I've spoken a lot, and I feel like this is a good chapter. This is a really really good chapter. Um, we are gonna call it quits here today. Let me just go over the chat a bit. Yeah, I, I don't know. I mean, like Kuma says, it may have just not sold very well. That's what I think. Also, I think it didn't sell very well. And Ramen's like maybe slow pace in the second volume, maybe. Second volume was a bit mind game more than actual action, which is just so sad. You know, like this volume 3 is actually like the best volume, I think. I feel like. And then volume 7 is just freaking madness. So volume 3 and then volume 7 is the best in my opinion. But uh Heimu says, though I'm Japanese, not Balinese, so I don't understand exact meaning of the Bali lion mask. Is it not just the lion mask that you use to do the lion dance during Chinese New Year? I don't know. But yeah, that is where we're gonna call it quits for today. Thank you guys so much for coming, and I see that I made a mistake with the stream. The chat box should be a white background. I'll fix that for next time. But yeah, hope you guys have a great day. Look forward to this chapter. It is already done, so it will be going out on the website next Saturday at the usual time. So look out for it. And this is a great chapter. Just saying. There's more music. Miyama does this random shit again. There's more music, and if his previous "Lick My Ass" song selection was anything to go by, this will be a good one. All right. Hope you guys have a great day or a great evening wherever you are. Signing off.